Hey, today we're trying another Beaujolais. For me, I really like Beaujolais on a warm summer's day, sunshine, relaxed weekend, picnic kind of wine, bit of food that's just easy, bit of salami, bit of cheese, that kind of thing. And today we're trying Jean Foillard, his Morgon, Le Corcelette, 2016, yes. So Jean Foillard is one of the winemakers in Beaujolais who really promoted the natural wine movement. One of a small group named by Kermit Lynch, the US importer, as the Gang of Four, because there were four of them who all did this kind of style, low interventionist. They started, they stopped using synthetic herbicides. They started using low SO2, avoided chaptalization, so no bumping up the alcohol in this due to added sugar. And they picked riper, actually. They picked later. So it's kind of changed the style to some extent of Beaujolais, actually. But Foillard is probably now considered one of the best Beaujolais producers that exists. And the Cru Morgon tends to make punchier, bigger, fuller, richer, more tannic Beaujolais. And Corcelette, this is his cuvée Corcelette, and Corcelette is a particular vineyard area within Morgon. So, yeah, let's try it. 13.5% alcohol. It does come with a very hard wax seal. Looks kind of cool, but it's an absolute pain in the ass. This is the kind of seal where you open it and you're still finding pieces of wax seal on your carpet a week later. Of course, you could cut that first and be kind of clever about it, but for the benefit of the viewers, I am opening it on camera, not really to illustrate the difficulty, but to just show that, yeah, this is the fresh bottle. Hope it's not corked. Yeah. Straight up, bright fruit, cherry, dark cherry, and red cherry. Bit of strawberry as well. There's a little jam. It's almost jammy fruit, but it's not that sweet. It's just a little reduced down in a pan kind of type thing. Bright, but I think there is a wild vegetation, or a wild country kind of smells to it. Yeah, not actually seeming as complex as some of his past vintages, to be honest, but it probably needs a bit of air. I do find that these wines, they open out a bit with air. Very old vines here. I think they're like 80 years old. And it does see oak. It's semi-carbonic maceration, so it's traditional Beaujolais approach in that sense. That all the grapes, a whole cluster put into a vat, CO2, carbon dioxide, sparged through the vat, and then they start fermenting in there. But it's not full carbonic, so you don't get a lot of those characters that are associated with stereotypical Beaujolais Nouveau, like banana and confected kind of fruits. And yeah, it has a bit of time in old small format barrels and also in larger format oak as well. It's juicy, refreshing, medium weight, travels really well. No heaviness to it at all. Plenty of the flavours that are on the nose there, on the palate too. And Foillard's wines tend to be more silky, I would say, on the palate. The tannins are finer textured, and they're a little more refined in that sense on the palate, less rustic than the majority of Beaujolais, and certainly traditional Beaujolais. So it's funny, they're traditional in some ways, but actually quite modern in other ways. And these wines are really big internationally. The US market absolutely loves them. So of course, they get really popular, particularly in New World countries like Australia. And I think a lot of people fall for the texture here. I think they're really good. They often do provide a bit more complexity than other Cru Beaujolais, but I also feel like they're a step away from the traditional style. They're not quite as crunchy, punchy, tannic as traditional Beaujolais, and so it depends what you like, really. If you're looking for something that's a bit more elegant, certainly for a Morgon, a little more suave on the palate, and potentially has a bit more complexity to it as well on the nose, then Foillard's a good way to go. And there are other cuvées that are more expensive and even more elegant, like the Côte de Pie, for example, or the Pie, the 3.14, which is a play on the vineyard. Côte de Pie is the vineyard name, but of course in French, Pie, 3.14, etc., is pronounced P, so Côte de Pie sounds like pie. So the 3.14 and his Côte de Pie cuvées are even more, I would say, elegant and suave on the palate. Definitely worth checking out as a point of difference in the style of Beaujolais. And if that's the style of Beaujolais that you're used to drinking, definitely try something else, because it's not the standard, I think, and it's not the traditional style. But nevertheless, really nice, easy to drink, definitely goes down well with sunshine, French hip hop, and a bit of pate or salami or cheese or something like that. Foillard, Morgon, Cuvée Corcelette 2016. Give it a go.
It's not the jelly bean confected level.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the pretty florals are nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they're often fairly floral, I find, his wines. A little bit of rose petal, that kind of thing. So you get that's why probably they're more complex. And well, this is just open, so it's with air, more of those things I think are coming out. The cherry, the strawberry, it's not too confected though, but it does verge on the jam. Like there is that ripeness there. Touch of spice, definitely the florals, and a little bit of a kind of almost wild vegetation kind of aspect to it as well.
I think that's coming out more now. I'm smelling something that's not like quite cow parsley, but it's something like cow parsley. Like a little white wild flower with all its sort of like sappy, not sappy, but like a dandelion kind of astringent smell.
Yeah.
Bit of weediness.
Yeah, there's a definite vegetation aspect there. Weedy, it's not like bitter green weed.
No.
It's more like sweet floral kind of, but still green.
Summer's day kind of weeds.
Yeah. Yeah, like walking through a French meadow in the height of summer in Beaujolais. Actually, it does smell like that. So, yeah, sense of place there too, clearly. Yeah.
And you tend to, fitting with the summer's day theme, you tend to serve these a bit cooler.
Yeah, that is a good point. I would probably serve them around like 16 to 18 Celsius, thereabouts. And they taste better, a bit cooler fresher, more vibrant. And actually, interestingly, you often get a bit more of the wilder flavors, I find, if you do that. But yeah, they're a medium-bodied red, but they just taste much nicer with that edge of cool freshness on them. And this one retails for around 70 Australian dollars, which is quite expensive. It's very expensive for a Beaujolais. In the US, you're seeing similar prices actually now, strangely enough, because usually in Australia you'd find it for a lot more, although it's still cheaper in the US. And in France, of course, it's about, well, it's less than half what it is here. But even for there, it is an expensive end Beaujolais in the scheme of Beaujolais, even in Cru Beaujolais with a good international name. So it's a lot of money to pay for a Beaujolais, really. I still like them, so occasionally I buy them just for that point of difference, but not really a go-to for me because of that price point, to be honest. I don't think that they offer a massive amount more than others. They just provide something a little bit different. But you know, if you're going for that kind of style, a bit riper, a bit smoother, suave, more silky on the palate, and with that more complex nose, then maybe it's worth it. Yeah.
At least once.
Yeah, definitely at least try it once anyway. Yeah.
Is this the producer that I've heard you talk about, or others talk about, as making Beaujolais like Burgundy?
No.
Because of that suaveness, or is that someone else?
That's Chateau de Jacques,
Right.
which is Jadot's, the Jadot of Burgundy, their effectively Beaujolais outfit. But in some ways they probably are more like a Burgundian Pinot Noir, these Foillards, because of that textural quality. They're more like the kind of silky texture you get on a Pinot from Burgundy. So I think a lot of people who like, well, I find actually a lot of people who like Burgundy, they gravitate towards this style in Beaujolais. Well, I like Burgundy too, but for me, Beaujolais isn't about that. Beaujolais is about other things, and Burgundy is different. I like both for different reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have a
It's
vision
a
of
bridge. Maybe
yes, it's a bridge. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So yeah.
And then once you've handled this, maybe go into the big rustic,
Maybe
chewy, punchy Beaujolais.
if you dare. Oh, they're easy actually. It's all easy. That's the beauty of Beaujolais. They're just so easy to drink. I think a lot of people don't find, well, some people don't find them interesting. They can't get into them. But they're not, it's not about like being a really complex, elusive, intellectual experience, Beaujolais. It's about, it's a drinking wine. It's a picnic wine. It's a fun wine. It's a, you know, having a good time with people you like, and you know,
A coiffeur.
yeah, having some nice food, and that's really what the style is about. Beaujolais, Morgon, any of the Cru really, give them a go.